On tonight's episode, we finally make it into the breach. Josh admits that there's a beast inside him, and I go out on a lifeline. All of this and more on episode 147 of Indie Game Riot. Indie Game Riot!
Hey everybody, this is Josh, and I'm here with Eric Hunter.
Hi.
With the M in the middle. It's been a couple weeks now that we're recording. I'm noticing that our stream is freezing. There we go. Whatever. I don't even care anymore.
Life.
So yeah, it's been a couple weeks between just a lot of shit, and I was like half dead for a while. It was nonsense. This is the first time I've felt, as far as like disease riddenness.
I was gonna say human. Do you feel human?
No.
No.
But this is the first time since like the beginning of December that I felt disease free. Not including diabetes.
And all the other things.
Yeah, I'm certified. Well, I mean, I told you to wrap it up. And
I mean, you double bag it. It's still.
And yet,
it's like
syphilis.
It's like super syphilis.
Yeah. So that was the thing. But finally, everything's back to normal for now. And we're back. So what's been going on for you for the past couple weeks?
It's been good. I'm also getting over being sick.
Good.
So
Glad.
Got the
Glad you were sick.
Snot stuffed in my nose. Just playing games. You know.
What games?
What games?
AAA games.
I'm still playing Breath of the Wild. I'm not gonna lie. No, actually, I was gifted a game. It's like one of the greatest games ever made. So blow it out your ass.
Any more trippy ass games that?
So sorta. No. I almost picked up Inside and started playing Inside again, and I put that down because I was like, I don't know if I could play this again. That's a little.
You never played Little Nightmares, have you?
No, I have not. I
I'll
want to, but yeah, it looks. I watched a trailer last week of it. It looks terribly sad and terrifying. I was gifted Reveal the Deep. Which is an indie game on Steam. Let me bring up it was just one of those. I don't know why I was gifted it. I asked why. They just said just because. I was like, oh, cool, thanks.
Was it a random stranger?
No, it's a friend of mine that I've known for a long time. But like, he's not one to. We'll do like the birthday thing where it'd be like, hey, it's your birthday. Let me get you a game on your wish list.
That seems suspect to me. Like, I feel like maybe he I don't know.
He won something?
Yeah, well, or he did something bad and he's like preemptively
trying to make up for it.
Yeah.
It's only 99 cents. It's a exploration puzzle platformer game. Mm-hmm. You play as a what's the word for people that go underwater? Scuba diver, but like the old school scuba diver with like the big metal helmet.
Yeah.
But yet there's no breathing apparatus, so I don't know how you're breathing underwater. But
Game logic.
Right, yeah, video games. That's why the hook of the game is that you have a flashlight on your helmet that can only see so far off into the distance, and when you get to certain parts in the world, if you turn the helmet off, which is done by, like you press the space bar, and then there's a very satisfying animation of him knocking his helmet with his fist, and you're hearing that knock, and then the light turns out. The world kind of glows, and you reveal different platforms and parts of the stage that you couldn't access before. So it's like a kind of like shifting between planes, I guess.
Right. Not 100% original, but it sounds interesting underwater.
Sure. So the underwater part is kind of like, when I first started playing it was super frustrating because you're underwater, so everything's very slow and deliberate and drawn out. So like the whole time you're just like, just come the fuck on and just get over there, because like it's just the wall. There's nothing in between me and the wall. Just get to the wall. I need to get to the wall. I know the wall's over there. I want to get to the wall. But you're so slow, you just kind of lumber over.
Right.
And then that was like the first 10 minutes of me playing it, and then the rest of like the however long I played it, I don't know. It was almost tranquil to be moving that slow and to being that kind of lumber throughout the world. I don't know, like it was a weird, again, another strange sensation from a game that I've never really had before. So it's okay.
I kind of get that feeling from Stranded Deep for some reason.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know why. It has something to do with just the isolation, I think. But still being able to like have a house. I don't know. It's weird for me. But how was the? A lot of times with like those kind of underwater games, there's like, was it 2D or 3D?
So it's 2D pixelated. They do one of the things that I'm starting to see more and more in games that I really enjoy, which is it's pixelated sprites, but I guess like the effects or the game feel of the game is a lot more modernized. So like so the scuba diver is pixelated, but like the air bubbles they look fully rendered 3D objects that are floating up away from you, which is a neat little aesthetic that I enjoy.
So is it like Delver where it's first person?
No, it's side scrolling.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say there was what was it? There was a game that was
I don't know. I couldn't remember Scuba Diver, so I'm
well,
at a loss.
There was a game I recently saw that had to do with underwater, but it was like, actually I think it was like third person. But the point is, it's like in a 3D space, and it was kind of weird because of how easily you get lost, because the map wasn't. It was like a linear thing. It was linear, but the map allowed you to wander outside of the course that you're supposed to be taking.
Oh, weird.
So it was really easy to get lost. So I was gonna ask like how well it was set up, but if it's 2D scroller, it's kind of hard to not.
Yeah, it's very lock and key. Like the majority of the puzzles I've dealt with, which is pushing boxes around to get to higher levels, higher platforms. What you can't touch when you turn off your light and you basically phase into the other plane, you can't move anything. So one of the puzzles is you have to move a box to a certain part of the floor, and then when you shift, that part of the floor disappears, and then the box falls down because you can't physically move anything when you're in the other plane. So it's like you said, there's nothing that's going out of its way to be unique and interesting, but I feel like it's pulled back so much to a fairly simplistic point that it's almost like perfect in its package. Yeah. Like it's not trying to do a crazy amount. It's just trying to convey like just a very short experience. I mean, with it only being 99 cents, I wasn't expecting much.
The most important thing, original or not, is the fact that it's fun. If it's done well, then it really doesn't matter all that much. Yeah, for the player. So,
but no, I'm enjoying it. Like it's a nice, because there's so many games out there that are just so heavy, and I don't have time to really play games to begin with. So like the games that I do play, it's either something I've played 1,000 times, or it needs to be something I can just easily jump in and jump out of. And this is a nice kind of in between of like, oh, here's your 15 minutes to take out of your day to just kind of go and do this thing, and then you can go off and do something else. So
cool.
Yeah.
Well, there's your recommendation for the day, outside of the games that we're going to talk about later.
Okay.
So for me, over the past couple of weeks, it was just surviving. I'm assuming it was the flu. I mean, I don't really know for sure because I'm not a fucking doctor, and I don't.
You didn't ask?
Yeah, I didn't ask.
What are you? I'm the flu.
The flu, jackass. Now shut the fuck up and lay down.
Take it.
Yes.
You sweat, shivered, and cold now.
That's really what was happening. It was a fever, and my whole family got it at different points, but I had it for the longest. And I don't know. It's like one thing after another, and I was just the final thing. It was like, oh my god, I'm just ready to die. like that meme of the old dude. I guess I'll just die now.
Right.
That was basically
just gonna lay in this hole and die.
And I had the chills and all that sort of stuff, and my body ached. So, but I'm here, still alive, and
good for you.
Ready to get started. I'm behind on a lot of shit now. I'm finally catching up, but I feel bad because I'm outside of Indie Game Riot and the stuff that comes with it. I obviously do the voiceovers, but I also through that I do this charity work where I basically donate my time to narrate audiobooks. For kids who have learning disabilities, like dyslexia and stuff, or blind kids or anyone that could use an audiobook rather than read it themselves. So I fell like way behind on that shit too. Felt really bad about that, but I finally finished the book, the first book that they had signed me, and now they assigned me a second one, and then like not too long after they assigned me the second one, they had like an emergency. I don't know if it's an emergency, but they were trying to get one done like priority.
Weird.
Where they needed 2 different people to read because it's like coming from 2 different perspectives. I'm narrating like big name books too, which is kind of nice. The first book I narrated was Minecraft the Island, which was written by Max Brooks.
Yep.
If you don't know him, he wrote like World War Z and Zombie Survival Guide. And I narrate the second book was Horizon. It's a teenage series. The guy who wrote like the Uglies and Pretties, and that's like a series of books. Scott Westerfeld is his name. And then the book that they like suddenly switched me to is called Geekarella. And while the book in itself is not necessarily my genre, it's like a romantic comedy for teenagers. It's actually pretty fun to read. I was going to say,
so you're totally in it, aren't you?
It's pretty fun to read the character.
Fully invested.
I play like this nerdy famous guy, who's like a teenager, but he like got cast in this sci-fi show, like reboot, and he's like dealing with the pressure of fame and also having to be that guy who's like filling it. You know how like sci-fi nerds get, like when Chris, like the example in the book he gives is like Chris Pine being Captain Kirk in the new, what I mean? People are like, oh no, you're not better than original Captain Kirk, that
right.
sort of thing. So he's dealing with
not
that.
my Captain Kirk.
And then of course between him and like the other main character, the girl, there's going to be romance and whatnot. It's kind of like that whole like they hate each other at first and then they find out they like each other. That's what it seems like. So, but it's pretty fun. So, by the way, if you have kids with learning disabilities as far as like reading goes, or if you know people who do, or even just want to, every school has kids that could use that kind of help. So,
sure.
Learning Ally is what the group is called. They're looking for like, not only are they looking for narrators, and they do try and like stick with people who do it professionally, but they're also looking for people who listen and have some experience with like audio. Like Eric, you could actually probably do the listening part. I don't know about narrating. You'd have to try if you wanted to do that, but if you wanted to spend that time, so that's an option. Go check them out. Learning Ally. Wait, ALLY is Ally, right?
Yes.
Okay. For whatever reason, I just had a brain fart and I was like, Ally? Is it Ally? Ally. Ally is an EY.
Right.
Pretty sure. So,
yep.
Ally. Okay. Ignore me.
Man.
So,
tell you what.
You know what? I need a little bit of a perk up. I think it's time to take an indie news injection.
Are you bored with the same old games?
Yeah.
Why, then give yourself an indie news injection.
Thanks, Indie Games.
This week on Indie News Injection, we're talking about... Oh, man. I bet you can't get it by the clue over there. Indie Revolution Expo 2018.
Oh.
I've been planning it for a little while, but because of the sicknesses and every other kind of bullshit that's been happening, I fell behind. But finally, and this is for those of you in the live chat, get first dibs, apparently, to go to our website, indiegameriot.com. Click on the Indie Revolution Expo tab and you can officially register now. They are open. Some things are still being implemented, such as the logo and all that sort of stuff, but the important thing is that you can get your registration for your games to be exhibited during IRX. You can do that now, and as well as your presentation / panel / talk / whatever the fuck you want to call them, because everyone apparently has something to say about what we call those things. But you can register those as well if you feel like you have something to talk about during IRX. But again, this is all very just initial implementation. You can, of course, sign up for the newsletter on the site, which I recommend because that's where we get all the detailed updates sent out. And as things get more and more organized, the closer we get to IRX in July, the more information will be sent out via newsletter and occasionally on Discord and Twitter, all that sort of stuff.
Oh yeah.
So IRX,
are you excited?
I'm always excited, but I'm also always incredibly stressed out planning IRX because I'm the only one that ever does it. So
sounds like it.
Yeah, it's it can be a burnout fest if I let it, between that and everything else. So, but in the end, it's always worth it because that is a fun weekend. And I'm hoping this year you'll be able to stick around for the whole weekend.
Maybe.
You better. I don't want. If you get fired from your job, then so be it.
Oh, well, that's not going to happen. We're not going to put myself in that position. So.
I was planning way in advance for it, so it's a good time. Garrett in chat, who has presented Wandy at IRX before, can tell you a little something about it. And he's currently wearing, by the way, t-shirts are always available. It supports IRX, and he's wearing his as well in the chat. He got orange with the 2016.
He got orange.
He got orange. He got an orange shirt with a 2016 logo on it. Logo is different every year. It's always based off the previous year's winner of the most revolutionary game award, which is AKA Best in Show, essentially, for IRX. So, good times. You know what else can make a good time? Collector's editions.
Oh, what? Did not see that coming.
Wait, hold on. Why isn't it working? Oh, it's apparently not working. There we go. Oh, well, it's because it's in the wrong area. Excuse me while I adjust things real quick. Anyway, inside...
Good thing we're not professionals. Jesus.
No. Inside is currently releasing a collector's edition, which is going to be $375.
Yep.
For Inside Collector's Edition, and contains something made by a sex doll manufacturer called Real Doll.
Yep.
Which concerns me in a few different ways.
I was going to say, does it concern you?
It does concern me. I mean, sex doll in the first place, I mean, it's just the idea.
Now, hold on. Now, the company makes other things. It's not just a sex doll. They don't just make sex dolls.
But when you connect it with the game...
Sure.
And, by the way, spoilers, if you haven't played it yet, so I might want to shut your ears off for a couple minutes here.
I haven't played it. I'm in the middle.
Okay, I'll just say, there's things at the end where if you think sex doll manufacturer and things at the end of the game, you're just like, maybe that shouldn't be a thing.
Right.
I'll just say that. How about that?
Or maybe, I'm sure somebody's into it.
Oh, I'm sure there's someone that's into it. I mean, people are into hentai, and that's probably not as bad. Just saying. I don't know. I mean, it could be, I guess, depending on... I don't know. I'm not a hentai connoisseur like you.
What?
So, $375 though. Would you pay $375 for a collector's edition?
The article states that one of the reasons why it's $375 is because of it's being made overseas. So there's going to be a lot of the tariffs that have to be paid and that kind of thing. But No, I'm not going to pay for it.
Here's the thing. Just going on this, going with the fact that they're hopefully not going with an actual sex doll.
Right.
These people that make this stuff, Real Doll, they make these sex dolls with actual skeletons, like made out of PVC and joints and silicone flesh.
They are the real deal.
And with the thing at the end of the game,
Holyfield.
I would assume that you're not actually going to have sex with it from the collector's edition. However, it could make a really cool and disturbing figure, and maybe it actually is like a has a little bit of roboticness to it. Maybe
suction?
Actually,
Are you going for suction? So was that the word?
I guess if you really want to.
I mean,
but I mean, like, if $375, you could be paying for like a little robot. You know what I mean? This thing from the end of the game that actually you can move around. Maybe it has a little controller or something. And who knows? That'd be kind of
cool. Because it rolls, isn't it? Isn't that the big deal? Is it rolls?
Yeah.
You kind of roll about.
It does roll.
So.
It is estimated to ship in Q1 of 2019. So I believe that is summer. Like summer to fall of 2019, if they're going by fiscal calendars. So anyway, again, want to spend $375?
You sound really excited.
Me?
Yeah.
I would totally take this if I had just fucking money to throw at it. $375 without really knowing what's in it is kind of weird, but you can do it. And I believe you can actually do that now, if I'm not mistaken. I think it started on the 8th of March.
Yeah, I think they're taking pre-orders.
How it says June 8th. June 8th, though, you will not be able to order anymore. So if you want it, get it before June.
The time
8th.
is now.
Yes. You know what else? The time is for.
Sure don't.
Game Maker Studio 2 will be, and this should excite you, is launching on the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
Because they say it will further their mission to bring game development to all.
There you go.
So
you're missing the biggest announcement out of this, though.
Okay, what's the biggest announcement for you?
No, just in general. So this came on the heels of the release of Undertale coming to Switch. Because apparently Undertale was done, and people other than us.
We talked about that before.
Did we?
I feel like it was like an episode or two ago that we talked about Undertale going to Switch.
Oh. No. That the fact that Undertale is... I didn't know Undertale was made in Game Maker. That was news to me.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah. But the reason that it's coming to Switch is because... or the reason that it's coming to Switch is because the game's made in Game Maker, and now Game Maker exports into Switch. So.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Will you take a crack at making a Switch game?
Absolutely. Wouldn't you?
No.
Really?
I don't give a shit about making games for the Switch.
Well, here's the thing, though. So, it's one thing to make a game in Game Maker and then quote-unquote export it to the Switch. It's another thing to say, if I can turn the Switch that I have in my home into like a dev kit, so that I can just freely upload my builds and test it out.
If you're established enough, I would imagine you could get a dev kit.
Yeah, but if you're not established...
Well, then they might make you pay for it. But
yeah, that's what I'm saying. If they make you pay for it, then how much that cost is going to be really what's detrimental to this being successful or not. But I think as I've said before, the more opportunities for me to play more games in a very convenient way, to me, is a win-win. I know the Hyperlight Drifter is a game I've been wanting to play. That was made in Game Maker, so that should be coming to the Switch if it hasn't already. So I don't think it has. You
know what's weird, though, with Game Maker? And I'm not shitting on Game Maker because I appreciate what they're doing. Just for game development in general. But
sure.
I heard, maybe I'm thinking of something else, but I heard Game Maker is like...
It's not on Switch. It's on Ouya, though. Why is it on Ouya? What?
I heard Game Maker is like not good if you want to teach yourself development, like general development, like coding.
No, not with coding. Game Maker is great when it comes to trying to teach you how games work on a set of systems. Yeah, on a set of systems when it comes to like object-oriented programming. It gives you the basics of ideas on how, like, just the general breakdown. You can do some very expansive things in it. There is a whole programming language in it. Like, you don't have to drag and drop anything. You can literally just open up the coding menu and just code everything and script it if you want. That's typically what I did, because then you had obviously more control over what you wanted to do in less time.
Right.
The problem is unless if they've changed it, Game Maker was built on a archaic programming language to begin with. That hasn't been updated from my understanding. So unless if that's changed,
wasn't it? Okay, I mean,
I can't remember. It starts with an L.
I thought it was like Python or something like that it ran on.
No, so Python is, I would throw Game Maker into the same idea as Python. Python, when it was first created, again, this is just all from my recollection, but when the reason that Python became so popular so quickly is because you could create things at a very rapid pace to like make like a very rough draft of something that you would want to make in a programming language, but you would never use it as the actual language you build it on, because it's not stable enough to do that. And there's other languages like, C# and C++ and even Java that do things much better. But and I think it's the same thing as Game Maker, since it was so easy to use, that alone built its popularity up. And now you have to like cater to two groups. You have to cater to that hardcore dev that just wants to build a rough draft to see if something like an idea of theirs comes to life, and you also have to appease a group that is only going to use this even though there are better tools out there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let me see. It starts with, it's like,
I think the idea is, though, that maybe it's best to teach yourself some coding, just a language, and then if you want to use Game Maker, go ahead and use Game Maker.
Right.
It would be my suggestion.
I mean, I enjoy Game Maker just because of the ease of use. It is very easy to use. It's very approachable from an amateur perspective. But the other problem is it depends on what kind of game you want to make. Yeah. Like, it's tailored to 2D games. You can make pseudo 3D games, and when I mean pseudo, I mean like old school Doom, where it's technically a first-person shooter, like, but it's not
something like that.
Yeah, like it's very limited in its scope, and it's being built off of a 2D space.
Right.
It's possible.
What was it with Doom? Like they made it like it's technically top down, but they made it so like it's like a trick where it looks.
Yeah, it's they call it it was a what do they call it? Line something. As the way that they were able to produce those effects. But yeah, like the textures or the quote-unquote walls that you're looking at are just 2D textures, and they just keep rebuilding them as you walk. There's no real... the first 3D game wasn't created until the first-person shooter 3D game wasn't created until Quake, and that's because it had stairs. That's how you knew it was like fully 3D, because you actually walk upstairs, and then there was platforms below you that you could drop down to. Whereas with Doom, it was like when you walk upstairs, there's nothing below you. You're just at a different level of height, which nothing really changed in that. But Dolphy is the name of the language that Game Maker's built off of, and then that's built off of Pascal.
I know Pascal.
Yeah,
I've never heard of the other one, but
it's a derivative.
Well, you know what's not archaic?
I should probably just pull up the notes so I know what the hell you're talking about.
This is your story.
Oh, yeah, Kongregate. Oh, so Kongregate, for those who may not know, I always just thought Kongregate was that...
Flash game website.
Yeah, like the crappy knockoff of Newgrounds or Albino Black Sheep.
Well, to be fair, though, Kongregate had some good games on there, and it was probably out of most... As much as I love Newgrounds, you probably got paid better as a web game developer.
Oh, really?
Kongregate. Yeah, they actually, I mean, they had the funds to sponsor a lot more, not to mention ads and blah, blah, blah. So, but Kongregate seems to be, they've really expanded into like mobile, and now apparently into this thing. So you'll be
for
talking
this
about
thing
here.
is. So they are launching a Steam-like storefront that is called, wait for it, Kartridge with a K.
Because K's are cooler than C's.
I think so.
And when you say cool, you spell it with a K.
That's right.
Like cigarettes.
Kewl. Cool.
Kewl, yeah.
That's how I spell cool. So essentially, it's going to be exactly what you think it's going to be. It's a storefront for them to play games. So it's just like Steam's, GOG, itch.io, Game Jolt. They all have Steam fronts or storefronts.
What's weird for me is that it's like a mixture of legit games and, well, not that web games aren't legit, but
like
fully
cash grabs for advertising.
I don't know, like it's. I mean, you see Jotun and Psychonauts mixed with whatever the fuck that goat thing is.
What is this goat thing?
It's on the picture. Toto Temple Deluxe. Like, what the fuck is like? That's straight up web game. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's just a weird mixture of those kinds of games, and makes me wonder how. And then it actually has mobile stuff on there too. The Trail is on there, which is a mobile game that was made by what's his face, the guy that no one likes. I forget his name now. Peter Molyneux.
Oh, okay. It's like there's a laundry list of people that don't like somebody.
So it's just a weird mixture of games, and it makes me wonder how they're going to curate, why people should be incentivized to even use this, that sort of thing.
I think it's like anything else. I think they see an opportunity that they might be able to streamline some of the process of people playing the games. I feel like they see themselves as a bigger competitor now than they used to be. So when your competitors are creating storefronts, you kind of need to.
But do I really
do something
need
like
yet
that?
Another launcher?
So that's always
web games.
my problem with things. I think there's too much bullshit. I'm perfectly happy with going back to the days of just having 1,000 launch shortcut icons on my desktop to play games. Just doing that. I'm also perfectly fine with popping my CD drive in and loading a CD up to play a game. I'm okay with that. But when I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5 game launchers just running in the background right now on my computer.
I only let one ever run in the background. I have more than one. I mean, between obviously Steam, I have one that was new. I forget what that's called now, but I haven't used it in a long time. I have GOG. I have EA's bullshit.
Origins. Yep.
Yeah.
That's
I have itch.io. I have Game Jolt.
Yep. Those are the ones I have. But and that's the problem, is they don't talk to themselves. So now I feel like I need another launcher that sits on top of all of those launchers. Yeah, just so I can play my fucking games, because it's like at the end of the day, that's.
See, now you've just given someone an idea, and it's going to be fucking terrible. It's going to be the launcherception.
Yeah, it's going to be launcher inception. I feel that I believe that Kongregate has a dedicated group. I think that their audience. I feel when I was on Kongregate, like back in the day, I really enjoyed like the profile stuff and like them keeping track of high scores and like the dedicated chat rooms that you had for each game. Like I thought that was a neat idea. Mm-hmm. It was always ended up being cancer at the end of the day, but all the best things are. So I feel like maybe they can take this. So here's the other issue with the article is that Kongregate has stated that. Let me see if I can find the actual wording, because it gets so nuts. So they are doing away with an approval process for their games.
So less curation.
And they're doing away with upload fees. But Kongregate says, here's the line, that it will take an active role in matching players with games. We have a dedicated editorial team that will use their experience in content curation for Kongregate.com for over a decade to make sure that good games are given the chance to find an audience. Games will be showcased based on what is resonating to our players and our team, in addition to some surfacing based on a player's individual preferences.
It just seems like a bad idea.
Well, it's like
You're basically trusting everything to an algorithm. I don't give a shit. You say there's a team back there. You're not going to be able to hire enough people for that.
And it goes back to like you are not doing or saying anything different that I have not heard somebody say or do before, and that has ultimately failed. Like, don't give me some legalese bullshit that like, oh no, trust us, we got this taken care of. Like, no, I've tried to trust people before, and it's coming up, sideways. Like, just tell me what you're going to do. Just tell me how it's going to work.
And the other thing is too that in the to bring it around to indie games is that. I mean, apparently they have some decent indie games in there with like Jotun, but
right.
Do indies really want or need or are able to deal with yet another storefront between Humble, GOG, and Steam and everything else that they've got going on?
I mean, yeah, that always breeds competition. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, all they really need is that one good game that you can only play on Kongregate or whatever, that one good developer that only releases their games on Kongregate, and then it's a moot point. You know what I mean? Will that happen?
Like,
I don't know.
The only other company I've seen that happen with is Humble, with their Humble Trove.
True.
That's where getting over it with Bennett Foddy came from, was Humble. And even that then ended up releasing on Steam anyway.
True. So. But I think that there's not enough. So at the end of the day, it's about money, right? So I was reading an article about...
I'm sure they're 100% altruistic. Eric,
right.
Don't assume.
Well, no, I'm not talking about them. I'm just talking about game developers. At the end of the day, it's about money. You can't make a game and then not have funding enough to make another game to continue making games, right?
Yeah.
So here's the issue with all of this stuff is I was reading an article recently and it was talking about developers who were absolutely sidestepping Steam all completely and selling the game directly to their community and their player base on their website for the first
I think I saw
12 to 18 months.
Yeah.
It's a pretty interesting read, and ultimately at the end of the article, the majority of the developers state, well, of course we're going to release it on Steam. We have to. The viewership is there, the eyeballs are there, but we're going to try to do it this way first before Steam gets their hands on it.
Because works for some people. I mean, like it worked for Factorio, and certain games. It works for a certain kind of game where constant updates are to be had, like
right.
RimWorld, Factorio, and Minecraft that was that way, obviously, and which has its own fucking dedicated launcher. I forgot about that one.
Yep.
And here's another thing too: all these games that you get from other places, even if you don't get them through the Steam store, Steam's launcher still allows you to add them in there to launch the game from.
Yep.
So
so the issue becomes, like, okay, do you roll the dice and then you just release your game on every storefront and then just hope to get, or if it were me and I was coming up with this idea, and I obviously don't want to go the way that everybody else is going, because if you're going to go that way, you're just going to get squashed by Steam and Humble Bundle and itch.io and all those other companies out there who have such a much larger dedicated base that, I mean, at some point you have to get into production. You have to really just start producing these games to give these developers X amount of money up front to get specialization that it's only going to be launched on your platform, so that you can use that clout to bring more people to your platform.
Right.
You can't just release the game and say, hey, if you sell one, then we get 30%. Like, you can do that when you're Steam. You can do that when you're EA. You can do that when you're itch.io. You can't do that if you're brand new with no audience. Do you know what I mean? Like, you literally have to put your money where your mouth is, but nobody's going to do that because still, like, the indie gaming community is so uneven and so saturated that it would cost more time and money to find those dedicated developers and to fund them to finish their game exclusively on your platform than it would be to just blanket everybody.
Publishers tend to get to it before anyone else anyway. Because if a publisher gets to it, then that's definitely not going to happen, because the publisher's going to be like, look, sell it wherever the fuck you can because we're making money here.
Right.
And publishers, they obviously are going to, they handle the distribution, unless you offer them a massive, like, just flat pay cut or, fee to just...
Here's your check, yeah. But I mean, I feel like if you wanted to get started, and be a real player in this market right now, that's what you have to do. Like you have to be the only market that has these games. You have to be
like Blizzard or Origin. They have they keep their own games on their own launchers.
Exactly.
Forgot about Blizzard. That's another one.
I feel like that is the only way it'll. At the end of the day, and then once you're 5 or 6 years in and you have a dedicated fan base, then you can start some sort of curation system or some sort of algorithm and start letting in other developers. But until that point, it's like you have to realize that you can't go up against Goliath. You know what I mean? Like you're going to get squashed every time.
You know what I think we need?
Indie news injection? No, we did that already. What else do we need?
I think we need our own dedicated launcher.
Oh,
for Indie Game Riot.
What are you gonna be the launcher on top of the launcher?
We could do that, but I was just thinking we could just launch a podcast through a launcher.
Wait, what? We're gonna launch a podcast?
We're gonna launch a launcher for launching podcasts.
I am on board with this idea. This sounds amazing.
But can
we have an ebook that's $99, but right now you can get it for $19.99?
Yeah, and I can do the radio spot for it.
Beautiful.
It'll be fine.
Well, it would be trash.
After that, we can launch a launcher for launching launchers.
We are totally launching the launchers. Are you ready to launch the launchers?
You know what I'm ready to launch?
Let's launch the launchers. God, that's so funny. I don't even know anymore. I'm so confused.
We're ready to launch a riot. Start a riot is next.
Huh?
This week on Starting the Riots, we are bringing a new game from a classic developer. And by classic, I mean I'm pretty sure they've only developed one well-known game before this, but it's a well-known game. From the makers of FTL comes Into the Breach by Subset Games. So, while I switch my fucking screens here. Into the Breach. The remnants of human civilization are threatened by gigantic creatures breeding beneath the earth. You must control powerful mechs from the future to hold off this alien threat. Each attempt to save the world presents a new randomly generated challenge in this turn-based strategy game. It's reminds me a lot of... I'm dying.
Does it?
It reminds me a lot of like those like classic tactic games.
Yep. Like old school.
Which are actually some of my favorite games, like for Game Boy, outside of like Pokemon. I used to love Final Fantasy Tactics and Fire Emblem, that sort of stuff.
Yep.
What's that other game? It actually reminds me of like the original Tactics game that everyone loves. I can't think of it.
Oh, I don't know. There's a lot of them.
Anyway, so I think there's I'm not sure if it's a city builder or if it's just that, depending on what the map that you get. But basically, there's buildings on the map that will give you power-ups for your units, and you have to defend them, obviously. Otherwise, you lose those power-ups, and you lose the game overall if you get your shit destroyed. The other thing, if you know FTL, you know strategy is their thing. So this is going to be difficult. I don't know necessarily if it's more difficult than FTL. Because I think FTL is fucking impossible.
Yep.
I agree. I've never seen anyone beat it. I'm sure there are, but I've never seen anyone beat it. And I sure as hell have not beaten it myself. I think I've gotten the best run I've had, I've gotten 2/3 of the way through.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it was impressive, and it never happened again. It was like a one-time thing. I probably just
never again.
I probably just got really
lucky. Yeah.
With how it turned out. There's also the whole building thing, like kind of like how you did in FTL, but in this case, you build mechs, and you can like find unlocks or upgrades, I should say, for your mechs, where you can find like weapons and different pilots for your mechs as you play through the game. By the way, the aliens that you fight are called the Vec. They're like this insect breed. What is it with, like, do you think...
Starship Troopers?
Yeah, I was going to say, what is it with insects and aliens that seem to be, like, really popular? Is it Starship Troopers, or was it before
I don't know anything before Starship Troopers that would, like, took the whole bug idea to, like, the nth degree.
Yeah, so the last thing I can think before that is that one with the ants, like, from the 50s. Or, like, ants from space or some shit. It was...
But were they, though? Did they come from space?
I'm pretty sure they came from the Michael's Craft Store because I think they were made out of like fucking pipe cleaners.
Right. As you do.
Yeah.
As you do.
No, so this is a roguelike, by the way, as was FTL, where
right.
It's permadeath. So
yep.
In the story, in the sense of the story, if you die, you get sent back through time to save another timeline.
Ooh.
In this case, which is their reasoning behind starting over, and also the fact that everything's different with the newly generated maps and whatnot. What were you gonna say?
This is not a game for me.
What about it makes it not a game?
It's if it's anything like FTL, I can't.
I get the feeling it's not as hard as FTL. I might be completely wrong on that.
Right. Because it may be worse. You don't even know.
I mean, it's almost like FTL mixed with XCOM a little bit.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of XCOM either.
I've recently played XCOM 2, and that shit is hard.
I just feel like, which is this, and so what I'm getting ready to say is going to sound ridiculous because it goes against everything about this genre of games. But I feel like I have zero control over what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like
there's an RNG aspect to everything.
Well, it's
obviously
it's like a chess game though. Like you have to think 2 and 3 moves ahead, and I don't know. Getting into that mindset of a video game for me is difficult because like I play games to escape, not to
hurt your brain.
Right.
I get it,
and it does hurt my brain.
By the way, this was an IGF 2018 finalist for the grand prize, the Seamus Pinelli Award, Indie Games Festival, and also a finalist for excellence in design. So congratulations on that shit.
It's pretty.
It is very nice. Very nice.
I like the UI.
I wish the this is just me being a bitch, but I wish the maps were a little bit larger.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea for a strategy being so constrained. I'm sure they balance it out so that it's not really affecting you, but
it looks messy though. There's a lot of shit going on screen right now.
There's just a lot just crammed into it. I mean,
yeah.
And then on top of that, the map's shrunk down even more because there's fucking lava and a volcano in the corner. But
right.
That's just my initial thoughts on that. I do like the idea of kind of like what I did with the FTL of having like building your own mechs and having finding like pilots for the mechs that are specialized in certain ways. It's not an original idea because I mean there's games where you find like heroes or whatever to like help you lead your armies and stuff like that. Like I think Total War does that, but it's still a cool mechanic that I appreciate. And as always, this was actually one of the games as I mentioned earlier. I don't know if I mentioned during recording, but I wanted to get some new music up, and this is one of the games I wanted to get some music on for the stream, but I didn't because they always do really well with music.
Yeah, they usually take into account of how important it is to a game.
You can find it on you can find it on Steam, Humble, and GOG, and it is $14.99. Also, not a bad price. With an additional $6 if you would like to buy said soundtrack.
OST. Because you can't see me. Oh no, the volcano's going off. That's cool.
Oh shit, no. Anything else you would like to talk about Into the Breach?
None. It looks interesting. I will probably play it for about a half an hour and then realize it's not a game for me and put it down and never play it again.
I did stop after a while with FTL. I was like, fuck it, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yep. Which I
nothing I do is right.
I don't know if that's me or the game, but I mean, obviously people love FTL. FTL is one of those games that, if we're able to start an actual indie game Hall of Fame, FTL is probably up for induction to that at some point.
Right. Rage quitting.
Yeah. Well, you know what else looks interesting?
Just a wee bit of Peep Show.
Peep Show.
Please give all your attention to Early Access.
This time around for Peep Show, we're talking about The Beast Inside is a photorealistic horror game. From the psychosis of the present to the madness... Son of a bitch. Coughing on my line. From the psychosis of a present to the madness of a past. From Cold War's paranoia to Civil War's darkest days. The Beast Inside is a gripping new twist on thriller and survival horror genres, telling a multi-layered story about cryptanalysis discovering a 100-year-old murder mystery that not only remains unsolved, but also puts his very life at risk.
Yes, sir. What do you think of the photorealistic thing?
I mean, looking at this trailer, I'll give it that.
I don't know if it's quite photorealistic, but it is pretty. It was a pretty game.
It's a pretty game. So I don't think there's anywhere on here that talks about. You're probably gonna need some high aspects for this shit to get killing.
Well, I think the character model more than anything needs some. I mean, it
Polish,
is in Kickstarter mode, so whatever.
True.
But, the thing that I think is pretty cool about this game personally is that they're taking. I mean, it's story-driven horror is always good in my opinion because it's not just shitty ass jump scares or whatever.
Sure. Although there are some jump scares in this game.
There are. But it's taking that and adding the puzzle aspect. I mentioned the cryptology or whatever the hell. And then on top of that, you're actually playing two different characters.
In two different time planes, yeah.
In two different times. So it's an interesting way to portray said story, I think. I think this game could go one of two ways. Because right now it looks great, obviously, and I'm sure the demo plays like a demo would play. How do you think the demo plays? Because I know how the demo plays.
Oh, okay. I'm sure the demo has a very gripping 10 minutes that is completely inboxed and shut off. Like they probably just took one part of the game that was super duper polished and ready to go.
Well, I mean, that's a definition of a demo.
Is it though?
I mean, it should be.
Because I mean, that's a definition of a demo. This game's not even beta yet, so like there should be shitty clipping and all kinds of garbage.
Well, there are there are some things like I mentioned the character model, or actually all the models, because even the monster.
It's kind of weird looking.
The animation for the monster is a little off. Like, there's the part where the monster jumps at you, and he just kind of floats. He kind of just like glides through the air. Instead of it's not a fully developed animation. But
good.
It's so fast that it's not like a big deal, but like you notice it.
Right.
So anyway, I would say that I was impressed with the demo.
Good. Well, that's encouraging. So. They had a Kickstarter pledge goal of 46,345. They are currently sitting at 49,489 with 1,600 backers plus, with 17 more days to go.
When I added this game, they were like just under 46,000, so that they only recently passed it.
Well, it looks like Kickstarter labeled it as a project that they love, so that means they got front page.
They do that with like half their shit nowadays.
Do they really?
Yeah.
I haven't been on Kickstarter in forever. I've been screwed so many times. So if you know me, will you fucking just let it go, dude?
I don't have water anymore. Go get me water, bitch.
All right, I'll go get you water. So if you know anything about me, and when it comes to Kickstarter, I always see what the price of the game's going to be. So in Canadian dollars. Right now, they're doing an early bird special where the game comes out to be about $25 Canadian, which is about $19 US. After the early bird special, it'll be $23 US, $30 Canadian, which is probably going to put the game price. It's probably when it releases on Steam, it'll probably be $29.99. I would assume, because I don't think $30 is or $23 you can do it. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. So I think that's a decent price. I have a feeling they're probably going to, if that's the price of the game and their budget for the game is only $46,000, they're probably going to run into a lot of budget problems, unless if they have back funding from somewhere else.
Well, there's one thing about this that kind of confuses me.
The multiple games that they're bringing out?
Yeah. I'm assuming that it has to do with the publisher, because the Kickstarter is actually looks like it's being managed by the publishing company, which is Playway. The Beast Inside is made by Illusion Ray, but the Kickstarter is under Playway. and I'm assuming that they are involved with the other 2 games that they're offering if you pay a certain amount for the Kickstarter, which is Lust for Darkness and Agony. I don't know much about Lust for Darkness, but Agony is not even released yet.
Oh, good.
Which is confusing. Agony, first of all, I will say Agony looks fucking beautiful and absolutely terrifying to me for what I've seen of it. And there is a demo of that as well. But it's weird that they're doing that as a package deal when the game's not even out.
Right.
And that's for 130 Canadian dollars.
Canucks.
CADs. So I mean that's kind of weird to me that they're doing.
Yeah. Well, so I'm on Playway's website right now. So their games. I'm going to use that word loosely for this next bit. Car Mechanic Simulator 2018 mobile.
They do have some shit games. They send me.
Yeah.
They send me a lot of stuff.
Oh, do they? Train Mechanic Simulator 2017, The Dinosaur Operation, Handybot.
So it's kind of weird because they have a mixture of like really cool looking games and then some really shit games.
Yeah. Giant Machines 2017, Construction Machines 2016, Farm Expert 2017, Car Mechanic Manager on mobile.
This particular demo is getting a good amount of steam. I mean, obviously horror and good looking.
Yeah, there's always that. Just that genre alone has a dedicated fan base. I being one of them.
Yeah, I mean, I actually the first time I saw it was through Jesse Cox, who's
Jesse Cox.
He's a fairly big gamer, or YouTube gamer.
Yes. Yeah, he does a horror kind of playthrough game, doesn't he, with the Beard Brothers?
Scary Game Squad, yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, that's what they did. They did the demo for this.
Yep.
But I mean, they even list some big ones there. So I mean, it's kind of interesting.
That's good. I mean, I always feel like we come off as shitty about 90% of the games we talk about, and it's not. I don't want to come off as shitty. Like I want games to succeed. I want people to be happy. I want people to enjoy playing video games. But like, maybe I'm just so fucking cynical now about everything, especially when it comes to video games and the community. It's like, it's so hard not to. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I'm just seeing if there's anything other interesting tidbits about this. There was something. I feel like there was something else I wanted to mention, but I can't remember what it was.
I mean, it's interesting. I'll definitely keep track of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you can only get the demo if you back the program, if you back the project.
Okay.
The
Well,
demo's
I'm sure
really available.
I'm sure if you ask for it, they will send.
We'll give it to you.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about you. I don't know about anyone.
I'm not
probably.
Fuck
You
that.
probably need some sort of proof that you're some kind of influencer. I mean, it is just a demo, so it's not like...
Yeah, and I don't play demos, so...
I don't play demos.
No, I don't fucking... here's what we want you to think the game's going to be. Go ahead and pre-order it. Oh, it's going to be delayed for another 2.5 years. Oh, it's going to be shit. Sorry about that demo we sent you. Yeah, fuck off. Fuck you and your demos.
For 5,000, the highest tier they have, 5,000 Canadian dollars, which is about 3,862 American dollars, is the Beast Edition tier. You get to design a secret room, and you can send them your own concept art or description, and they'll model it in full 3D. Plus, you get the digital art book, digital soundtrack, digital world map, an ebook, which is the full story of the Beast inside.
Which would be, I would think, worth a read.
Yeah, it would be kind of interesting.
I'd read that.
You get an exclusive poster signed by the creators. You get a t-shirt. You get your updates, obviously. Pack of wallpapers, special thanks in the credits. You get the Steam key of the game, the demo, right now, and access to an exclusive beta version coming out in December of 2018. And I would assume that you get the other 2 games as well?
Yeah, I'm sure.
It doesn't list it, but I mean, I don't see why not if that's an option.
Right.
So there you go. Beast Inside. You know what is inside all of us?
I mean...
Go ahead. Life, Eric. Life is inside of all this.
Oh, okay.
So throw me a lifeline.
Jesus.
Because we're going mobile.
Oh. Huh?
This week on Going Mobile, we're talking about Lifeline. So the interesting thing about Lifeline is that
It's not really a game?
okay, don't start with me with that bullshit like it's a story, it's an interactive story, not a game. Like, bitch, you play like every game is an interactive story, and every interactive story is a game because it's interactive. Anyway, there is a branching story that you can. You're basically it's a text adventure kind of, except it's like Twine. It's like a Twine.
Yeah, it's like a choose your own adventure kind of game.
Yeah. You have to help Taylor make life or death decisions and face the consequences together. Where Taylor, by the way, the guy who writes this game wrote for Fables, which is the graphic novel where, you know, it's like a fairy tale endings. They made a Telltale game out of it too.
Oh, yeah, that was a great game.
He's the writer for this.
Oh, killer.
Yeah.
All right, well, I changed my mind.
So he writes a story about Taylor who crash lands on an alien moon, and you're stranded, and you have to figure out how to find some of your crew if they're missing or dead. And the community, basically, your role in this. Your role in this as the player is that you are the one and only person that his communicator is able to reach, and therefore you are helping him, you know, progress and survive.
Which is a great plot device.
Was that sarcasm or no?
No, I mean that genuinely. It's because it's one of those things where it's like, fuck, I'm in trouble, and all I get is this jackass who doesn't know what's going on. Like, I don't care. I need your help. Contact somebody.
Well, it's kind of the same. Like, there's this thing with mobile games now. Like we talked about on Indie Fireside last month, Simulacra, where it's like you're just this random person, the wrong place at the wrong time, or right place at the right time, depending on how you see it. Yeah. And you're helping this person out because you just happen to be the one person there. It's kind of the same thing. So I don't know. I think it's a really cool concept, especially on a mobile game where like with mobile games, it's like, okay, match 3. It's just clones of clones of clones.
Yeah.
It's another game where you have time walls, or unless you want to pay. And so it's nice to see something entertaining and worth your time. I don't know. It's just how I see it.
And it looks like you can even play the game in your notifications.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. I've never seen that.
I've seen it before with games that are story heavy and a lot of stuff like that, but what the fuck is this nonsense on this YouTube video?
What are you talking about?
Fuck, who uses annotations anymore? Jesus.
Everybody.
Anyway. Again, check it out. Lifeline by 3 Minute Games. It is available for Android and iOS, I believe.
Yep. $1.99.
$1.99. You know what else is not available for iOS or Android? The end of the show.
Okay. All right.
Actually, it is. It can be if we can get the audio shit back up and running. Which I was thinking about. You know, because it's only like $30-$40 for a year subscription to SoundCloud. We can get the RSS feed back up and running.
Oh.
Get the audio going again. So we'll see. But anyway, some things I want to let you remind you. First of all, if you enjoy Indie Game Riot and you want to help us grow, let me ask you a favor, and please consider doing us that favor by going to patreon.com/Indie Game Riot and helping us out every month. You could just throw $5, one coffee a month sacrificed to help Indie Game Riot grow. And thank you for doing us that favor. Other things I want to remind you of is mention Indie Fireside. This month, it was Eric's choice for Indie Fireside. If you don't know what Indie Fireside is a game where we pick a game that has $10 or less to talk about and play and talk about in depth at the end of the month in a group discussion setting, kind of like a book club, where anyone can join. Vance, who leads it, and just join in the discussion and be on stream, and it's a good time. Again, the games are always $10 or less. We're trying to keep it affordable for everyone, but if for some reason you still cannot afford it, I completely understand. We do also try and help you out with code, so you just let us know, message us. All this does take place on our Discord, which you can find the links if you're listening live. Link is below the stream. If it's on YouTube or something like that, the link is in the description. And you can go there and just message us. Let us know that you'd like to participate, and we'll help you out there. Another thing, again, is IRX 18 is happening.
Get hyped.
Get hype. And if you want to sign up your game to be exhibited at IRX 18, all free, completely digital, so you don't have to go anywhere. The links, again, will be in the description of the video, or you can just message me because they're not in the description of Twitch yet, or down below Twitch, but they are there available for you to register your game, and you can also register to do like a presentation, talk, TED Talk, I don't really give a damn, something like that, whatever you want to call it. You can register for that as well. Eric did one year. Was that last year or the year before? I forget.
Last year.
Last year.
A lot of criticism.
It was a different thing. Like every year we always have at least one talk where it's kind of off the wall. Like the year before I think we did one specifically about adventure games, which was kind of weird, and I forget what was before that, but I appreciate it, to be perfectly honest, because I
had fun.
It's something new.
Yeah.
It's a new way of looking at things. Yours was specifically about console gaming for indies.
There you go.
So anyway, if we have it perfect, then you'll be there for the whole weekend. So all your fans can flock to you.
Ooh. I don't think my mom's going to be up all night.
Well, just give her some uppers, man.
Just drug her.
Slip her some.
Don't be a bitch about it.
Slip her some anti-roofies.
Nice.
Anyway, I think that's all the major things I wanted to mention. We'll be. You might want to sign up for the newsletter again, if you want to keep up to date with everything, because of course there's gonna be a cool new logo and shirt that's gonna come out that supports IRX, and additional information. There's also a game jam that happens. It's a good time. Other ways you can help us out, by the way, is by checking us out on Twitter at IGR Podcast, or you can also email us, contact@indiegameriot.com, and let us know new indie game related news stories, games that we should check out, people to interview, that sort of stuff. It's always appreciated. Anything that you would like to say before we leave, Mr. Hunter?
If you're going to do some segues, you just got to plan them out ahead of time.
People love our segues.
Man, love is such a strong word, isn't it?
We're famous for our segues.
Ooh. God,
come for the indie games, stay for the segues.
That's right. Come for the indie games. Leave because of the segues. Stay indie.
Speaking of leaving, say your goodbyes.
Goodbye.
Toodles!